Hey everybody, welcome back to homerecordingmadeeasy.com and here on my YouTube channel. And this time out, we're going to take a look at another one of the plugins that's part of the Fat Channel XT, part of the Presonus Studio One Fat Channel plugin package. This is the RC500 that is modeled after their famous hardware RC500 channel strip. This is the EQ section of that actual piece of hardware that was designed and built by Presonus. Now, this particular EQ comes free when you have the Fat Channel bundle here for Studio One, as well as part of the Studio Live Series 3 mixer. If you have one of those as well, you can use it in Studio One. You can also use it as part of your Studio Live mixer, so you can record live in your studio or out in a live venue. Really cool to have this EQ. We're going to listen to it on a master bus, on some drums, on some guitar, and a little bit of keyboards, and give you a chance to hear what it sounds like. But before we get to that, if you like what you see in this video, hit that subscribe button below. It helps me out tremendously, and make sure you go to homerecordingmadeeasy.com and get your 5 free mixing training courses right on my homepage. Click the orange button. Sign up to be a VIP member, absolutely free. You'll get 5 free training courses worth about $110 of value, as well as you'll get special pricing and discount on all of my Made Easy and Quick Mix training courses. And if you're a Studio One user, you'll really love that, because I have a lot of courses that are dedicated to a lot of the Presonus Studio One products for mastering, recording, and mixing. Check that out on homerecordingmadeeasy.com. So now let's get over into Studio One here, and let's take a look at the RC500. As I said again, this is a free plugin that's part of the Fat Channel bundle. So if you have Studio One Professional and you have the Fat Channel XT, you will have this in your collection. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Real simple EQ to use, very musical, and sounds completely different than some of the other EQs that we've been reviewing as part of the Fat Channel XT, which, by the way, you can check that out on my playlist on YouTube. I have a whole playlist for just the Fat Channel XT plugins, compressors, and EQs. This has a very unique flavor to it, which is different from some of the other ones we looked at in the past, which is really great. So let's take a look at the layout here. If you come over to the left-hand side, we have a power switch, little toggle switch on and off. Real simple, right? Then we have our low frequencies here from 20 hertz to 400 hertz. It can either be a peak or a shelf with this little switch here, and plus or minus 16 dB. Over in the mid-range frequency from 400 to 5K. Again, that is just a peak EQ, and that again is plus or minus 16 dB here. And then we have our high frequencies from 2K to 20K. Again, that one can either be a peak or a shelf EQ, and again, plus or minus 16 dB, and that is it. So right now we're listening to, we're going to be listening to a completely raw, unmixed session by the band Kung Fu, and the name of the track is Daddy D. It's a funk track. This is on the master bus. All the other plugins are turned off. We're only going to be listening to this. So let's turn on the RC500 and let's see, with a completely raw session, can we, sweeten it up a little bit? Let's take a listen. Before, after. Great sounding EQ. So what did I do here? Now, I failed to mention that these frequency selectors are not stepped. This is a variable sweepable frequency selector. So it's not, it could be anywhere in between any one of these frequencies that are marked out here. So we bumped up at right around 60 hertz. We probably put in, I don't know, probably, 2 to 3 dB at 60 hertz, just to kind of give us a little bit of thump on that kick drum. At 500 hertz, I took out probably 3 to 4 dB there to kind of get rid of that boxiness sound. And then around 6K, I used a shelf here as opposed to a peak EQ. So everything above 6K has a little bit of brightness to it, about 2 or 3 dB. And we just can turn it on and off here. So I'll start with it off and kick it back on, and you can hear the difference. Keep your eye on the blue LED light so you know when the EQ is being activated. Okay, so just a couple of dB on each one of these frequency bands, and we got ourselves something that sounds a lot more musical, has a lot more presence, a little bit more punch, and a lot of the mud is gone. Okay, so now that's on the master bus. Let's turn that off now, and let's just listen to, let's say, our drum bus, and let's just see what we can do just on drums by themselves. Okay, here's our RC500. Oh, there we go. That's before. After. Okay, so again, right around 50 hertz or so, a little bit of a bump there, maybe 2-3 dB, and in the peaking setting, the peak setting. And then in the mid-range here, right around 430, 440, we took out again about 3 dB to get rid of a lot of that boxiness with drums. Between 400 and 500 hertz is where all that real cardboard, boxy, hollow sound is going to live. And then around 3K, we put a peak at 3K to boost up things a little bit. We could even do that as a shelf and see what that sounds like as well, just a couple of dB. And there you go. So a shelf at right around 3K, anything above 3K is going to have a little bit of a bump there to brighten things up, and that's our drums. Sounds really good. So again, what's great about this EQ is that you just need a little dose of it. You don't want to overdo it. A couple of dB here or there, and that's going to make a difference. You can see I'm not boosting a lot, and I'm not cutting a lot. I'm just kind of dialing it in. This is a very sensitive EQ, unlike some of the other EQs we looked at where you have to you're going to push them a lot more to hear the audible difference. This one you want to be careful that you just sprinkle a little bit on, not too much, because it's going to get things to sound pretty harsh really quickly if you get too aggressive with this. Okay, so that's our drums. Let's listen to some bass now. Let's see what we could do on a bass guitar. I'll turn down the drums a tad here. Do our bass. Before, after. Okay, so here right around 100 hertz or a little bit more than that, I'm boosting up against a couple of dB, and then at 700 hertz, about another 2 or 3 dB to bring out some of the mid-range and some of the fingers, and that will help cut through the bass, cut through the drums a little bit more, so it stands out a little bit more. In solo, the bass, it could sound a little bit honky, but in a mix, it makes that bass cut through a little bit, and that's really it. So that's all we did on the bass. So again, we'll start with it on and we'll turn it off. After. Okay, and we'll bring the drums back up to a little bit proper level here. Now let's we'll turn this back on the bass. Let's listen to this also on a little bit of guitar, a little bit of funky guitar. See what we got there. Brightens it up really quickly. After. Okay, so there all I did is right around 5K, about 3 dB in the peak setting, and that's really it. Again, gets it to cut through kind of nicely. We can also roll off some of that low end here. You can also come to like, like 150 or so hertz here. You can put it on the shelf, and then you can roll out some of that low ends. That's before, after. Okay, so that's all we did there, and it sounds really good. It really cleans up that guitar nicely, takes out some of the low ends. Okay, now let's lastly maybe listen to this, maybe on some keyboards. We have an organ kind of sound here. This might be kind of interesting. Let's see what we can do here. You got that nice organ sound. Okay, so here all I'm doing is right around 3K. I'm putting a shelf on it, about maybe 4 or 5 dB, just to get it to cut above the guitars in that bass. And you can hear how it just brightens up the keyboard and pushes it forward a little bit. Nothing else is being done here. So listen to before and after. And again, it's important, when you do these EQ moves, that you kind of do this in the context of a mix and not just in solo. So I'll turn up the keyboard a little bit more, a little bit ahead of the mix here, and I'll let you listen to before and after. We'll start with it off, and then we'll turn it on. Listen to how that keyboard just all of a sudden pushes forward and cuts through the mix and brightens up a little bit. But again, it doesn't get harsh sounding. It's before. Okay, and that's on our keyboard. Now, if we go back to our master bus here, we have turned off the EQ. Remember, we started on the master bus where we everything else was shut off when we were just using the EQ, the RC500 on the master bus to see how we can clean things up. But now that we've kind of put some EQ on the drums, the bass, the keyboards, and the guitar, let's go ahead and let's turn this back on and let's readjust it now to see if we can make sure we have everything kind of in balance. And then what we'll do is we'll turn all the EQs off, all 4 or 5 instances of it, so you can hear the cumulative effect of what the RC500 is doing to this track. So here we go. Let's start with the master bus, and let's just dial this in and tweak this in a little. Before, after. It's before, after. Okay, so what do we do here? We did around, again, 60 hertz. I dialed back the EQ a little bit because we've already put some low end in the drums there. And then at 500 hertz, took out again about 3 dB or so, again, just to get rid of a lot of that mid-range buildup. And then at 12K, a little bit of a shelf there, a couple of dB, and that's it, just to kind of put a little crispiness on the top end. And that's all we did. So now if we were to shut off all of the plugins, all of these RC500s, all at the same time, and we can do that by coming over to this little power button here at the top left hand of the mixer. If I click this off, all of the RC500s will be taken out, and then I can bring them all on in. So you can hear the difference between before and after with all 5 instances of the plugin. So then we'll end this video. So let's take a listen. We will start with them on, and then we will take them off. Here we go. Okay, so there you go. So there is a nice look at the RC500 by Presonus. Again, if you have the Fat Channel XT bundle, and I believe it's in Studio One Pro, you will have this as a free plugin, which is awesome for Presonus to do that. But I also highly recommend that you watch the rest of the videos in the Presonus Fat Channel XT playlist on my YouTube channel, where I go through all the compressors and all the EQs. A lot of those additional EQs and compressors are part of a paid package bundle that you can buy at Presonus.com if you want to add even some more flavor and some more colors and tonal packages to your plugin set. You can have it all inside of this one Fat Channel plugin, which is really cool. And as I said earlier, remember, if you're also a Studio Live Series 3 mixer owner, not only can you use these in Studio One as we're doing here, but you can also use them inside of the mixer for when you're recording your studio or out at a live venue. So until the next video, I've been Dave with HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com. Again, go to HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com, get your 5 free quick mix series training courses, mixing courses, absolutely free. And also check out all the other Presonus training that I have under the Made Easy tab at the top of the navigation bar, and you'll see all the different training products I have specifically to Presonus and Studio One. So I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for your support, and take care.